Flying fists of fury, Doomfist has punched his way into Overwatch and into our hearts. What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch, and today we're going to be breaking down a couple of the best pro players in the game and their approach to the brand new hero Doomfist, some sick gameplay from Seagull, as well as Tviq. Seagull played on the No Limits game mode in the public servers, and Tviq played in a private scrim among other amazing pro players, so it really can flesh out the capabilities of what Doomfist can do. Now, of course, a character that's all about punching, you might imagine that his rocket punch is core to his kit, and above all else, it's the main tool that you're going to want to master in order to get the most out of Doomfist. On this big kill streak on Gibraltar, Seagull does a lot of cool tricks, including movement and combos, but the most fundamental of all is utilizing the rocket punch to great effect. Here on this duel on the outside of the map, he's dueling against a Genji with Dragon Blade, which normally would be something that you would fear as the player, but Doomfist is ready to knock you out like LL Cool J, which is why the enemy Shimadas are running in fear of Seagull's Doomfist. Whenever you can set up a lane of attack to protect your backline against flankers, Doomfist can be incredibly punishing. Although you need them to hit a wall in order to perform the insta-kill, landing a fully charged punch, which also includes a very important stun, is enough to deal with any backline harassment, whether leaning on the damage that Rocket Fist can do, or the crowd control stun that it quite easily lands. It's important to note that these things about Doomfist are subject to change at any time. We are talking about the PTR build of the game after all, but we think he's quite balanced and unlikely to change. However, the prospect of a potential insta-kill every 4 seconds sounds outrageous on paper. The lethality it has against flankers that otherwise are incredibly difficult to hit feels about as powerful as if McCree had a stun every 4 seconds and it had a chance to insta-kill them without him even having to aim up the follow-up shot. That's how strong Doomfist is. And especially since the charge comes out so fast, making it difficult for Tracer to dodge, and Genji cannot reflect the punch, Doomfist can be incredibly punishing to those characters. The second biggest part of Doomfist's kit, when he's not one-hit killing his enemy, is all the brawling and movement in between. With the combination of everything that he does, he has one of the fastest movement speeds across the map in the game. Fully charged rocket punch zips you across the map, uppercut gets you to high ground, and when looking down on ground, there is a reticle that you can use to select where you want to slam down on. It's very important that you know that you can manipulate this to jump much wider than you might expect. It isn't a set path. Instead, think of it as a way to teleport to that destination. While flying through the air, you can adjust to make sure that your slam lands on the target that you want to look at, even if it wasn't where you originally were aiming. When in on your target, now you have decisions to make based upon the state of the fight. If you have enough health, you might decide to set up for a full charged rocket punch to insta-kill your enemy if they're against the wall, like in that situation, or you could spam uppercut and punch to build your shields and deal quick amounts of damage and finish it off with your mini fist shotgun. It'll depend on what you're dueling and what the state of the HP bars are. The more afraid of your opponent you are, the quicker you want to punch in order to stun them faster to protect yourself. But if you're ready to go for the fastest time to kill, charge up the rocket punch for the one-hit kill. Doomfist Ultimate is very good, and one of the secret uses of it that might not seem so obvious that the pros make good use of is using it to escape. Although he doesn't have any normal escape abilities, his ultimate is a get-out-of-jail-free card to some degree, so when the enemy either drops a pulse bomb that sticks onto you or pulls out a Dragon Blade, you can Meteor Strike to do cool things like zone out the Dragon Blade so it can't attack your backline, but also keep yourself alive while setting up to potentially do an offensive move. There's some pretty intuitive combos to land it on top of a Graviton Surge or an Earth Shatter, but it's important to note that the bloom of the reticle doesn't actually increase the damage at the fringe of the blast radius. That's a myth that's been going around. We actually test this in private match. Envision the bloom of your reticle for your ultimate as a timer, and when it fully expands, then you're going to land. Holding it longer does not make it do more damage. You're going to want to land directly on the target you want to damage most, as the blast radius fairly quickly becomes very weak. Now, there's a lot of characters that are going around to be said to be very good against Doomfist, but I think some of them are quite overrated, actually. In this duel against Soldier, we can see how the lack of burst damage that Soldier has isn't fast enough to deal with Doomfist. This duel goes so fast, we have to watch it back again in slow motion to see what Tviq did to highlight how big of a play this was. Uppercut to get to the high ground and slamming to both land himself close to his enemy to set up his follow-up shot, but also to deal some damage and get some shields back. Also important in this duel is that Tviq arguably was losing it up until he set up his rocket punch. But landing his melee attacks quickly allowed for him to get some sustain by quickly building his shield, so Soldier had much difficulty to try to burst him down. Here he duels Soldier again, initiates the fight by hitting the slam on the ground, which crowd controls the Soldier, bobbles him up in the air, which will disorient his aim, as well as make for a clean uppercut follow-up, which sends him in the air, and at this point, because Tviq is so far up in the duel, there's no sense of urgency to land another melee because he knows he's not in threat of dying immediately, so he has time to charge up the lethal rocket punch. If he had much less HP, he might opt to instead punch faster to be able to get a little bit of health back to sustain himself in the duel. Another character that I think is a bit overrated as a counter, perhaps the fight's a bit even, is Reaper. In close range, landing the punch does two things Reaper does not like: crowd control and burst damage to his face. Although it was a bit more of an even fight in this small room, I would hesitate to call Reaper a Doomfist counter because he has so many tools to dodge him or to set up for an insta-kill on him. If Reaper can't kill him within the time that it takes for him to charge up his fist, it's all over, and Wraith form isn't the best form of dodge either because Doomfist's cooldown is 4 seconds. Coming out of Wraith will make him even more predictable to set up his next follow-up fist. Another character that's a bit overrated against Doomfist, Sombra. Yes, of course, hacking a target removes their abilities, and Doomfist is an ability-reliant hero, but hack comes in quite slow, and is much more effective against the flanky characters like Genji and Tracer, who have these large windows where hacking is fairly easy. Tracer has a long reload, and of course Genji can get hacked while he's reflecting. Those characters rely much more on their escape abilities to stay alive, whereas Doomfist is all in on offense. He doesn't want to be using his cooldowns to escape. If he has to, he'd much rather be landing his hits, and when he does so, it comes so quick that a Sombra in a direct 1v1 can't really duel the Doomfist. Although, of course, if someone else is dueling him, the hack would be useful to shut him down, but I think there's even better counters than that. But until we get to that point, more examples of how sick he is against these backline harasser threats. A lot of people are worried about what he can do to Reinhardt, but I think what he does to Winston is even better. His kit is uniquely designed to knock Winston out of his bubble into the open air where he can get easily focus fired. Before this, there really wasn't anything else in the game that could do this besides a Lucio boot. And you have to remember, even though he can punch Reinhardt and displace him, Reinhardt brings his shield with him. If you knock Winston out of his bubble and engage elsewhere, a big percentage of his kit is now worthless. At least Reinhardt could reposition and put his shield back up. When played like an enforcer to protect his backline, he can make mincemeat out of Tracer, and is as devastating as a counter as the old Roadhog hook was. Tracer players are going to have to respect the Doomfist at all times, which is hard to do because, again, Rocket Punch is on a 4-second cooldown. Even if he whiffs one of his punches and you blink a few times, Rocket Punch outpaces those cooldowns and he's going to have it again, and even landing a slightly charged shot is enough to stun her to be able to set up for lethal damage. We talked about a few heroes that Doomfist is really good against. What is he weak against? Well, in general, he definitely fears range damage of all types, but uniquely, he's most weak to McCree, Roadhog, and Hanzo. Mainly because each of them have a combination of range damage and abilities that land quite reliably on his big hitbox. Remember, Doomfist doesn't have the evasion of Tracer or the deflect of Genji, so landing a stun is pretty easy. And even though Roadhog got nerfed, his hitbox does reliably land a one-shot kill when hooked, and the windows of opportunity for his movement, especially since he has to stop completely in order to charge up a fist, means that landing hooks on him is fairly easy too. Why do I pick Hanzo? Well, range damage in general is strong against him, and his hitbox is big enough to reliably hit arrows, but more importantly, Scatter Arrow on a character that wants to get in close to melee you is quite reliable as well. Remember, he fears burst damage, not really sustain, because he has quite a few abilities to brawl out with you, doing damage, crowd controlling you, and getting a bit of health himself, making it difficult for characters that extend the fight a little bit too long to be able to battle him. It's very clear where he's strong, any place where you can get him into a close-ranged environment, which either means a map like King's Row that has walls everywhere and is very corridor-laden, or at any point where you can get him brawling on the objective similar to a Reaper. You can especially think that this is going to be strong on 2CP maps where the enemy is going to have to contest the point a lot of the time, and a lot of that stall tactic stuff isn't going to work very well against Doomfist's Rocket Punch. As that D.Va or the Mei or the Tracer attempts to come out to stall the point, a Rocket Punch will be waiting for them to insta-kill them, which is going to drastically change how stalling out on 2CP works. Not to mention his ultimate is quite a good initiation tool on such an objective as well. His glaring weakness, of course, is fighting out in the open space, because if he can't land a Rocket Punch to push his target into a wall, he isn't nearly as effective as he could be. This is why I wouldn't really describe him as an adept dive character unless, of course, you're playing on the objective or in a close range environment like I said before. Most other times, the enemy is going to be able to peel back, fire from range, and zone him out from his effectiveness. Remember, characters like Tracer and Genji, when they get in on the dive, have offensive abilities that they can keep doing, and strong defense abilities that punish the enemy for trying to focus them. Doomfist doesn't really have those. And when he's in on a dive, he's all in, just like a flanking Roadhog back in the day. You might be able to set up for that insta-kill around the corner, but if the enemy is ready for it with their own CC, like a McCree Flashbang or a Roadhog hook of their own, it can spell instant doom for Doomfist. I threw a ton of Doomfist information at you. You could say that I rocket punched it into your brain. I hope everything made sense. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate about what Doomfist is good at and where he should be played and what he's best at. All that subject to change given a patch or two in either direction. But this video was to talk about where he is right now. And we're more than happy to do follow-up content if things change. We're definitely going to be doing a big meta discussion about what the implications of Doomfist will be, and get more in depth about his strengths, weaknesses, and the ripple effect that it's going to have, so be sure to look out for those videos in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and those of you who are able to play on the PTR are having a blast with Doomfist. Despite him having quite a few bugs right now, I think he is easily one of the most fun additions to the game and fits right into Overwatch with his unique play style that offers for a lot of interesting changes to the meta, and I think undoubtedly will fit into the game quite nicely. If you're enjoying all the Doomfist content, please fist the like button for me. Let us know that you're enjoying it. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe because we upload each and every day, especially when new content comes out like this. We've uploaded quite a lot. So you're going to want to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description, you can check out our Twitter where we tweet out dank memes and Doomfist jokes. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.